Hello, my name is Marissa Wells and I am a junior communication major, and today I will be interviewing Dr. Nontumbi Naomi Tutu, who is an activist for human rights and a 1983 Berea College graduate. Dr. Tutu, the name Tutu is known around the world. Can you describe who you are and what you believe is your life's purpose?
So I see myself as a South African woman who has had amazing opportunities to come into contact with people who determined to change the world for a better place, to make it a better place, and that has given me the purpose in my life to find the way that I can work to make the world a better, a different place, a place of opportunity for all people, a place where we recognize and value each other's humanity.
It must have made for an interesting life being the daughter of Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Can you elaborate a little on what your experience has been like?
My father wasn't an archbishop when I was growing up. He was a priest and he wasn't world famous. So really my experiences were more the experiences of, as I said, being exposed because of who he was as a priest and an activist and a lecturer in the seminary in South Africa, of being exposed to many people who were passionate about a free democratic South Africa. So getting to meet students who were not much older than I was at the time, who were leading political movements and who were challenging the government, and to see the bravery of people like that. And also, again, because of my father and the opportunities that he was given to actually have the chance to live outside of South Africa, which I think was a really important formative experience for me, to have the opportunity as a young person to not live under apartheid, and to see that there really were options that were about people living in better situations that were not about oppressing one group over another constantly. And so I think that was those two things were the greatest exposure that I think that experience that I gained from being my parents' daughter.
What's a day in the life of Naomi Tutu like?
Well, it depends. So, I do speaking and workshops, but I'm also a full-time student at Vanderbilt Divinity School. So if it is a day where I am in Nashville and just going to school, it would be, I get up, I go to class, I go to the library, I come home, I read, I do homework, and I crawl into bed. But so looking at this weekend, for instance, I did a workshop here at Berea. I did a convocation speech. I'm doing another workshop tonight, and then I will drive to Lexington tonight, spend the night in Lexington, get an early flight tomorrow morning so that I can be in class at 10 o'clock at Vanderbilt. So for me, it really is about balancing the work that I do as an activist and a speaker with my new life as a student, a divinity school student.
Has your Berea experience influenced some of the choices you've made in your career as an activist for human rights?
Oh, definitely. I think that one of the things, the fact that I do public speaking comes directly out of my experience here at Berea. That it was while I was here that I was first encouraged to tell the story of being a Black South African and what it meant to live under apartheid. And it was while I was here that I really got to try out my voice as an activist, that what was it that I wanted to be passionate about? What is it that I wanted to be known for? So Berea really, in many ways, was a foundational place for me in having the opportunity to take leadership roles in the African Student Association, the Black Student Union, to be part of the founding of Students United Against Apartheid, and be active in the move that SUAA did in terms of working with the administration and working with faculty to teach about South Africa and apartheid. Berea definitely has played a huge role in the path that I've taken since then.
You graduated from Berea in 1983. Why did you choose to attend Berea College?
I mean, a really big part of the attraction of Berea for me was the fact that there was no tuition. I was coming here directly from South Africa, asking my parents to support me to leave South Africa and come for my education in the US. And so to have found a place where they didn't have the extra expense of a tuition bill was a huge thing. I mean, my second year, I received a scholarship from the UN, but when I first came here, it was all on my parents, which was a huge stretch for them. In terms of being, the exchange, and I'm one of 4 children, so this was a huge investment that I was asking my family to make to have me come to Berea. And I mean, I was guided to Berea by my father, who spoke here when I was in high school and came back with glowing reports about Berea. I think that part of the reason they encouraged me to look at Berea was the very fact that when I came, students were not allowed to have cars, and Berea was very isolated, and my parents knew that this would be a place where I would have to concentrate on academics instead of looking for parties. So I think that was part of the attraction for them to encourage me to come here.
How does it feel to be back on campus?
It's a weird combination. It feels really great because I've had an opportunity to reconnect with people that I was here with, some of my professors, and that to have some of my friends who were classmates when I was here and people who I lived with in the community to come. It's been really fun to see the changes on the campus. I mean, and for me, this center, this Carter G. Woodson Center, is an amazing thing to see, because we always were educated about Carter G. Woodson and the important role that he played in making Black History Month and a part of the national mind. And so so to be able to be in this space and to see, to spend time in this space and to meet students and to see that some things have changed a lot and some things haven't changed at all is always a great experience.
Who is the most influential person in your life and why?
Now that's a hard one. I don't think it's one person that first of all. I think, I would have to say it would be my grandmothers. And I'd say that because my grandmothers were 2 very different people. So my father's mother was a very nurturing, loving, soft person who, when I was growing up, we used to call her comforter of the afflicted, because she was the kind of person who, because many of my cousins and my siblings and I lived with my grandparents, and so when there would be a conflict, she would always be on the side of the person who's losing, and if that person starts winning, then she would change sides and be on the side of the person who's losing now. And she always was this person who wanted everybody to feel loved and cared and nurtured, and I think that that's such an important part of empowering each other, is to give that space for nurturing and care. And then on the other hand, my mother's mother was somebody who was a woman who defied all the odds. So she was a domestic worker, a widow with 3 children, who sent her daughter to a private boarding school, who really hustled and, made waves and paths for her children with what seemed no opportunity at all. And I think that, so the idea of a woman who, went up against all manner of things and was able to give her children gifts that she had never experienced herself. And so for me, those are the 2 kind of characteristics I hope that I have, that I hope I am both nurturing but also completely a strong woman, empowered, out there trying to make opportunities for those who come after me.
In one of your workshops, you stated, "We have to have a community that integrates the identities that we have." Why is that important?
Well, I mean, I think that, you know, if we don't have a community that integrates and respects the different identities that people bring into that community, then what you have is a fractured community, and a community that de facto has to be oppressing some members of that community. So it is important for me that we have communities that recognize that different people come into that community from backgrounds of different challenges and opportunities and gifts, and for the wholeness, the wellness of the people in the community, but the community as well. It is absolutely essential that the community find a way to work with the different identities that people bring in.
What do you believe is the most important human rights issue in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh, wow. You know, I mean, that's such a hard question, because what I always tell people is that there are so many human rights issues, and I think that for each of us, there are probably different most important human rights issues. And that's one of the amazing things about the human rights struggle, I think, is that we can identify places in that struggle that we best fit in. And for me, I think that it will continue to be issues of racism and sexism. Those are the places that I am most passionate about. Those are the places I am most concerned about. Those are the places that impact me in my stomach, if you will. And I'm very aware by saying that I am clear that those are my issues. Those are the issues that I see as the issues that I can be most active in. But that's not to say that other issues around human rights I don't think are important. It simply means that those are the places that I think that I can play the most important role, I guess.
And finally, what advice would you give to members of the Berea College community and students in general about how they can be greater vessels at bringing change in their communities?
I guess it goes back to that last question that you asked me, that for me it is identifying that issue that you feel that you can have the most impact in, and that issue that you feel passionate about. So for me, it is about the place that you make the biggest change, the place that you can have the most impact. I'm trying to remember a philosopher who said that it is the place where your greatest joy meets the world's greatest need. So the things that when you think about being active in them, that even if it's about expending energy, but there's a way that you receive energy in doing that work. And I think that that's the thing, to identify those places that you can have an impact, and that you love doing the work, because it is work that is frustrating, but that you love even just seeing small changes in a community or in one person that has been impacted by you.
Thank you.